In this class, we will discuss about the methods of issue of currency notes or banknotes. There exists different system for the issue of or the printing of currency notes. They are discussed in this section. The important methods used includes fixed fiduciary system, maximum fiduciary system, simple deposit system, proportional reserve system, minimum reserve system, etc. In India, currently we follows the minimum reserve system. Under this policy, the minimum reserves to be maintained in the form of gold and foreign exchange would consist of rupees 200 crores. Out of this reserve, the value of gold to be maintained is rupees 115 crores. This system was introduced in 1956 in India, replacing the proportional reserve system and continues till date. That is, we follows the minimum reserve system since 1956. The first method is the fixed fiduciary system. Fiduciary system means issue of banknotes not backed by gold. Under fixed fiduciary system, fixed amount of note is issued by the central bank against reserves of government securities. It is not backed by gold, it is backed by the government securities. Such amount is issued on the faith or fiduciary of central bank and is called the fiduciary limit. The central bank is required to keep 100% gold reserves beyond the fiduciary limit. The fiduciary limit is raised from time to time with the expansion of trade and industry. This system was introduced in England in 1844, in India in 1860, followed by Japan and Norway. They also followed the system. This system ensures security, inspires public confidence, and is without any danger of mismanaging the currency through overissue of notes by the central bank. But it has also certain disadvantage. That is, it is on the basis of the government securities. Second one is maximum fiduciary system. Under this system, there is a maximum limit to which central bank is authorized to issue notes without any gold reserve. But there has to be full backing of gold reserves beyond this limit. The central bank is, however, authorized to raise or lower the maximum fiduciary limit and fix the quantity of gold reserves also. Thus, this system is not rigid but elastic. It is also economical because the gold reserves can be kept to the minimum to meet the requirements of trade and industry. In case the central bank fixes the fiduciary limit very high, there may be excess of notes in circulation, thereby leading to inflation. This system was in operation in France, Japan, Russia, Norway, Finland, and England. This system has one major defect, that there is the possibility of inflation through overissue when maximum limit may be raised by the government. That is, this also the issue of currency notes without the gold reserves. There will be a maximum limit to which central bank is authorized to issue notes. Then another method is simple deposit system. Under this system, the monetary authority is required to keep 100% of bullion or gold or silver for every note issued. That is why it is also known as full reserve system. This system has certain merits. It is safe and enjoys the public confidence because there is full backing of bullions for every notes issued. The monetary authority cannot take any arbitrary decision in issuing notes, so there is no possibility of overissue of notes. There is also saving of precious metals through debasement because metal coins are not circulated. Then next one is proportional reserve system. Most of the countries of the world have now adopted a fractional reserve system. Under this system, note issue is conditioned by gold backing varying between 25 to 40%. This means that a certain portion of note issue has to be backed by gold reserves. That is, it is a proportional system. The remaining part of the note issue has to be covered by government securities, which are highly liquid assets and approved commercial papers. There is also the general provision that, subject to certain conditions and penalties, the reserve ratio may be permitted to fall below a legal minimum. In the system, certain percentage of total notes is issued by the central bank has to be in gold reserves and maintains the form of government and remaining in the form of government securities. This percentage varied between 25 to 40%. Countries like Switzerland, Holland, Belgium, USA and India followed this system. The system is simple and elastic. The money supply can be changed with the changes in the percentage of gold reserves. It provides sufficient security because certain percentage of note issue is supported by the gold. Then another method is minimum reserve system. This minimum reserve system is that under the minimum reserve system, the central bank is authorized to issue notes up to any extent, but it must keep a statutory minimum reserves of gold and foreign securities. India adopted this system of note issue in 1956 after discarding the proportional reserve system. Accordingly, Reserve Bank of India is required to keep a minimum reserve of 200 crores. Of this, 150 crores must be in gold and 85 crores in foreign securities. The system is highly useful for developing countries because they can meet their financial requirements by printing more notes. They can also reduce the money supply to check the inflation. It is therefore an elastic system. Further, it is very economical because only a small and fixed amount of gold is required to be kept. The minimum is required to be kept as reserve. Despite these merits, the minimum reserve system is a dangerous tool in the hands of monetary authority. It can print any number of notes, thereby creating inflationary pressure within the economy. A corrupt and inefficient government can bring disaster to the economy by excessive printing of notes and thus lose confidence of the people. An efficient and honest administration can transform the economy by a judicious use of the system. Also, this is the merit of the system. Here, under the system, a minimum reserve is needed for printing the currency notes. The advantages of the minimum reserves are the elasticity and flexibility. India adopted the system due to the two reasons. First one, to use foreign securities formerly kept as reserve against note issue in order to meet the foreign exchange requirements of the fire plant. Second one, to facilitate deficit financing and the raising resources. The minimum reserve system, that is flexibility, elasticity is there and it can be used for raising resources. So it is particularly suitable to developing countries like India, which have relied on the planning system for achieving the faster economic growth. There is a system, primarily the maximum limit system. This system was adopted in France and was in operation up to 1928, just a year before the Great World Trade Depression. Under this system, the state fixed an upper limit to note issue without any reserve. But any issue of notes beyond that limit was possible only after obtaining necessary legal sanction. There is an upper limit note issue without any reserve. Beyond that, the legal sanction is needed. This is the system of maximum limit system. These are the various methods of issue of currency notes. That a brief description is given here. Therefore, the important systems methods are fixed fiduciary system, maximum fiduciary system. These are beyond the without the reserves of the gold. Simple deposit system is the maximum or the full reserves. Proportional reserve means a proportion of gold and securities. Minimum amount of reserve is required to maintain the issue of currency notes in the country. So these are the important methods of issue of currency notes.